You used the time effectively. You stuck with the time limitations. The fifth presentation is going to be given by Dr. Fehmi AGCA in the framework of international law. He's going to talk about Turkey's territorial waters and continental shelf rights in the Aegean Sea and Eastern Mediterranean. We'll be following him closely.
Buyurun hocam, dinliyoruz. Bu Ege kıta sahanlığı hepimizin ilgisini çeken bir konu. Buyurun.
Evet hocam, güncel bir konu. Öncelikle bütün katılanlara saygılarımı sunuyorum. Takdim İngilizce olacak. Daha çok izleyiciye hitap etmesi, yabancı hitap etmesi açısından.
Buyurun hocam.
Go ahead, Professor.
Now I will talk about Turkey's rights related to territorial waters and continental shelf in the Aegean Sea and the Eastern Mediterranean. First, I will introduce what are the Aegean Islands. Greece gained independence from the Ottoman state in 1830. So the Sport Island, Ribos Island, and Kikland Island, which are very close to Greek continental territory, had been left to Greece. But the Ottoman sovereignty continued over other islands until Balkan Wars. In 1911, Ottoman-Italy war started in Libya territory. During this war, Italy occupied the 12 Ada, which are very close to Turkey's coast. After the war, Ushi Peace Treaty was made between Turkey and Italy. According to this treaty, Italy would withdraw from 12 Ada following the retreat of the Ottoman soldiers from Libya. Because of the Balkan War, Ottoman state left temporarily the islands under Italian authority to prevent a possible Greek occupations. In 1915, Italy entered into the First World War against the Ottoman state and declared that they abolished the obligations of Ushi Treaty. So it continued to occupy 12 Ada. North Aegean Islands were occupied by Greece during Balkan Wars in 1912. These are very close to Turkish Çanakkale Strait. As you see, Saron Islands are the natural extension of the coast of Turkey. During Balkan Wars, these islands were also occupied by Greece in 1913. After the Balkan War, first, Treaty of London was made in 1913. So Ottoman states gave up from all sovereignty rights on Crete Island first, and the destiny of the other islands were left to the big states. On 14 February in 1914, 6 big states, these are British Empire, Germany, France, Italy, and Austria. So these 6 big states decided to give North Aegean Islands and Saruman Islands, this part, to Greece, except Gökçeada, Bozcaada, and Meis here. With the Lausanne Treaty in 1923, 12 Ada and Meis were left to Italy. So as you see, Meis first time were left to Greece with the Lausanne Treaty. Gökçeada and Bozcaada were left to Turkey again in Lausanne Treaty. After the Second World War, Paris Treaty was signed in 1947. So 12 Ada and Meis were left to Greece on the condition of non-military status. Actually, despite the invitation of the United Kingdom and the recommendation of the Turkish Foreign Ministry for participations, President İnönü didn't accept to attend Paris Conference. If Turkey participated in the Paris Conference, Meis and some islands of 12 Ada, such as Sömbeke, Tilos, Nisyros, Lipsos, and Patmos, can be left to Turkey, taking into account the democratic situation in these islands, because even at that time, in Rhodos Island and in İstanköy Islands, about 15,000 Turkish people were living. We know that the people of the islands actually wanted to Greek authority, but anyway, the situation, the condition of Turkish people should be taken into account. But because Turkey didn't participate in the conference, so this 12 ada was lost to Greece. The territorial waters in the Aegean Sea first was decided as 3 sea miles for Turkey and Greece. In 1936, Greece declared its territorial waters as 6 sea miles. Turkey didn't object because of peaceful relation with Greece. In 1964, Turkey accepted a new territorial sea law. Article 1 of this law says that Turkey's territorial sea is 6 miles. Second article says that territorial waters can be decided mutually with the opposite state. So Turkey accepted 12 miles in the Black Sea and the Mediterranean Sea and 6 miles in the Aegean Sea. Okay. According to the principles of equity in the international law, the sea areas of a state shouldn't close the coast of other states in a great extent. Here, I would like to make a comparison in case of 6 miles and in case of 12 miles. On the left side, you can see the situation in case of 6 miles. In this case, Greek territorial sea covers only 43% of all the Aegean Sea. And now, currently, this is the situation. Territorial sea is 6 miles in the Aegean Sea for Turkey and Greece. And international transportation route coming from the Turkish Straits to the Eastern Mediterranean is open. There is a free international route. But in case of 12 miles, Greek territorial sea will increase to the 71% of the Aegean Sea. And as you see, actually, this is a reason of war for Turkey because Turkish parliament accepted a decision in 1995. If Greece extends its territorial sea up to 12 miles, this is a casus belli, reason of war. Because Turkey cannot exit into international waters without permission of Greece. As you see, the blue color shows the Greek territorial waters, almost close all the coast of Turkey. Only at 3 points, in front of Çanakkale Strait, and then Karaburun and Seferihisar region. Only there is a small 3 exits to international waters. But the international trade route, particularly between the Nicaria Island and Rhodos Island, will be completely closed. So there will not be continuous free navigation corridor for international transportation between the Turkish Straits and the Eastern Mediterranean. This is unacceptable. A former Greek diplomat, Ambassador Territorial, actually had some suggestion maybe to reach a compromise. 30 to 50-year moratorium on the delimitation and exploitation of the continental shelf, 12 nautical mile territorial sea only around the Greeks' mainland coast. Actually, about 3 months ago, Greece declared its territorial waters as 12 miles with the Italian Albanian in the Ionian Sea. At the western part of Greece. And 6 nautical miles territorial sea around the eastern Aegean island. This is the current situation. And rearrange the Greek airspace according to territorial waters. This suggestion of the Theodoropoulos can be a starting point to reach a compromise between Turkey and Greece in the Aegean Sea. Of course, these are not sufficient, but can be a starting point. Okay. Disarmament of the Aegean island is another conflict area between Turkey and Greece. 1914 London meeting established demilitarized status for semi-direct limited Sakız, Nicaria, and Sisam. 1923 Lausanne Treaty actually repeated this armament status for these islands, and the 1936 Montreal Convention canceled the demilitarization status for Gökçeada and Bozcaada to protect the Çanakkale Straits. And 1947, Paris Treaty established disarmament regulation for 12 ada and Meis, because these islands were left to Greece with this treaty. These islands actually as a whole create security risk for Turkey because the Greek attack to Anatolia started from these islands. They used these islands as installation, as bases to start an attack from Izmir. Lausanne Treaty clearly allocated the small islands within the 3 nautical miles of the Turkish coast to Turkey. But some islands, sovereignty was not defined. So this is another conflict area, uncertainty of the sovereignty or some islands and rocks in the Aegean Sea. Actually, during Lausanne Treaty, territorial sea was 3 nautical miles. Today, territorial sea is 6 miles in the Aegean Sea. Thus, Turkey should have sovereignty or unnamed islets or rocks within its 6 miles. As an example, Kardak and Emiya should be considered inside the territorial waters of Turkey. It's, around Bodrum Peninsula. Turkey and Greece actually should go to the international tribunal to solve this conflict. Turkey actually does not demand all these unnamed islands, but Turkey only demands a fair solution, so an international tribunal can make a fair decision for this purpose. Here on this slide, you can see the Greek and Southern Cyprus continental shelf climbs in the Aegean Sea and the Eastern Mediterranean. As you see, Greece would like to control all the Aegean Sea and also Eastern Mediterranean together with the Southern Cyprus Greek administrations by taking into account the Meis Island, which is a very small island, very close to Turkey, very, very small, only there is a village on it. On the other hand, Southern Cyprus Greek administration has no authority to make a decision for all the island because at the northern part of the island, there is another state, Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus. So Southern Cyprus has no authority. So this claims by the Cyprus and the Greece is completely against the international law and irrelevant. And this is Turkey's continental shelf showed by the blue color. This is called as blue homeland because Turkey doesn't accept continental shelf for the islands. And this principle actually is accepted by many international court of justice decisions. So Turkey is right to demand this area as the continental shelf. Continental shelf is a natural right of the continental territory. So particularly in the Aegean Sea, in the 1970s and 80s, many conflicts happened between Turkey and Greece. First, Greece started oil exploration and drilling activities in the Aegean Sea, and Turkey also did some exploration as a response. So in 1976, Greece appealed to the United Nations. United Nations Security Council called for direct negotiation and appropriate judicial means by the parties, I mean Turkey and Greece. And Greece also applied to the International Court of Justice for interim measures until a final judgment. But in 1978, International Court of Justice decided that it didn't have jurisdiction authority for the case and said that because the continental shelf area in the Aegean Sea were not determined so far. So it didn't have the authority. Turkish and Greek sides met in Bern on 2 November 1976, and both states agreed that the negotiation should be in good faith to reach an agreement, to refrain from activities that may negatively affect negotiations, to establish a mixed commission to define the principles in the delimitation of the continental shelf. So 5 expert meetings were held until October 1981. But the new government stopped the dialogue and granted a petroleum exploration license near Tassos Island. Turkey immediately responded, reminding the obligation of Bern Agreement not to conduct such exploration activities. In 1985, Greek Prime Minister Papandreou declared that they wouldn't recognize the Bern Agreement and not bound by its terms. So, as you see today, Greece doesn't accept to obey to the international decisions, international agreements. It was the same in the past. Okay. Here you can see the conflict areas in the Eastern Mediterranean, in the continental shelf of Turkey. Although Greece and some European Union countries objected, Turkey continued its oil exploration activities by its Barbaros Hayrettin Pasha, Yavuz, and Oruçli's research ships. Turkey also, about 1 year ago, in November 2019, had a maritime delimitation agreement with the Libya government. So as on this map, you can see the E and F point. This is the borders between Turkey and Libya continental shelf. Actually, Greece also later on signed a delimitation agreement with the Egyptian government, but actually this is against the international law. On the other hand, if Egypt makes a delimitation agreement with Turkey, actually Greece will gain much more continental shelf territory in the Eastern Mediterranean. So this agreement actually with the Greece is against the rights of Egypt. Now I would like to give some example from the international court decision, so to understand why Turkey is right. North Sea continental shelf case was decided in 1969 by the International Court of Decisions. Netherlands and Denmark defended equal distance here. Germany offered to solve the dispute through equitable principles, and the court justified Germany by issuing some changes on dispersion of the continental shelf. Actually, International Court of Justice used proportionality principle here and actually provided more continental shelf territory to the Germany, as you see here. This is the Danish claim, this is the Netherlands claim, but decision was different from their claims. And I also, the most important example in the international law, the Channel Islands Arbitral Award in 1977. Actually, the United Kingdom claimed that the Channel Islands is here, which are very close to France coast, very, very similar, almost the same with the Aegean Islands belong to Greece, which are very close to Turkish coast. So France claimed that the Channel Islands are inside the natural prolongation of the France coast, and the if the islands has continental shelf, United Kingdom continental shelf would expand unproportionally, and France cannot access to the Manche Sea. Yes, it is right. If the islands have continental shelf, this time you see UK continental shelf will completely close the France coast, like the Greek islands to the Turkish coast. France cannot access into the open seas from this point at least. So Turkey's claim in the agency and the claim of France in this case are completely the same for the delimitation of continental shelf, and requires that the islands shouldn't have continental shelf. But now France is supporting Greece, which is completely against its thesis in the Channel Island case. This is unfortunately coherent and actually against the international law, against the International Court of Decisions. This is unacceptable. Another example, Libya, Malta continental shelf boundary case. This is actually Libya defended here the natural prolongation and proportionality principles. Malta claimed the equidistance method, and in 1985, International Court of Justice took into account the main feature of the coast, the difference in their lengths, and the distance between them, and avoided from excessive disproportion. So, International Court of Justice drawn the median line to the north to reach an equitable solution by using proportionality principle. As you see, with this decision, Malta got a less continental shelf area, less than Libya, because of the proportionality principle. And this is the state practice between Italy and Tunisia. Italy and Tunisia agreed that the small Italian islands, Pantelleria, Lampedusa, Linosa, and Lampione, were all inclined so that they wouldn't have continental shelf, but only territorial water as a result of proportion principle. As you see, median line is following the red line, but Italian islands only has territorial waters, not continental shelf. Okay, so Tunisia got more continental shelf in this case. As a conclusion, if Turkey had participated into the war, Onikada would be easily taken back from Italy. Because of not participating into the Second World War, actually Turkey lost a great chance. On the other hand, India didn't accept to participate into the Paris Conference in 1947, despite the invitation by the United Kingdom, stating that Turkey shouldn't benefit from the results of war because it didn't take part into the war. In fact, Turkey declared war against Germany and Japan on 23 February 1945 before Germany surrendered on 9 May 1945. This approach of unity was a great mistake for Turkey's interest in the agency and Eastern Mediterranean. Now the rulers of Turkey is trying to fix this failure. I have some proposal for a fair conclusion under international law, and I will finish my presentation. The territorial sea in the Eastern Agency shouldn't be more than 6 miles. In some areas, even it should be reduced to 3 miles to provide free navigation corridors to the high waters for Turkey. The airspace of Turkey and Greece should be equal to the width of territorial waters. To determine the sovereignty over the islands which were not mentioned in the Lausanne and Paris Treaty, Turkey and Greece should go to the International Arbitral Court. In line with the 1923 Lausanne and 1947 Paris Treaty, Greece should withdraw its military forces from the Eastern Aegean Islands, which threaten the security of Turkey. The islands in the agency shouldn't have any continental shelf rights because Greece is not an island state or archipelago. Equidistant principles cannot be used as the only criteria for the delimitation of continental shelf between two countries. In line with the decision of the International Court of Justice, the limitation of the continental shelf in the agency should be determined by a special agreement between Turkey and Greece, taking into account the equitable principle, such as not closing the coast of other states, adjacency, contiguity, and proportionality. If two states cannot reach an agreement, they can go to the International Arbitral Court. This is the only way. With the participation of all states around Eastern Mediterranean, a regional conference should be arranged to decide for sharing the oil and gas resources in accordance with the equitable principles. Actually, our president, Recep Tayyip Erdogan, just called for this conference. Okay, dear audience, I finished my presentation. Thank you for listening me patiently. Thank you very much.
Biz de teşekkür ediyoruz hocama değerli sunumları için. Yine
Thank you, Professor, for this valuable presentation. This has been a very fruitful session as all the panelists complied with time limitations. I would like to thank Professor Fehmi as well. I think if 12 miles is accepted, we will only have 10% of the agency. Hopefully the unfairness will be resolved quickly here. Thank you very much, Professor.